scoring is the lowest it's been in 5 years. Assuming that this report is accurate, which I have no reason to believe that it is not, I find it plausible. I think the Hornets are probably not disappointed because they have some young players that they may like to build around.
On Thursday, the NBA world got hit with a bombshell report that sent shockwaves through social media. Kelly Iko from Yahoo Sports dropped a report claiming that LaMelo Ball, the face of the Charlotte Hornets, has become increasingly frustrated with the organization and is now open to being traded. But here's where it gets really interesting. Within an hour of that report dropping, LaMelo himself fired back with nothing but a clown emoji on X. Then the next day, he came out and straight up denied it to the media. But ESPN's Brian Windhorst, he's not so sure. He still thinks this story has legs, even after LaMelo's denial. By the end of this video, you might understand why Windy isn't ready to dismiss this yet, because when you take a look at what's actually happening in Charlotte right now, this situation is way more complicated than it seems on the surface. So we're gonna break this down because the Charlotte Hornets actually have hope for the first time in years, and I'm not sure if it makes sense for LaMelo to demand a trade, but for the Hornets' sake, it might make sense to trade him. So before we get to the content, we are still running our jersey giveaway on this channel. All you have to do to enter, subscribe, and turn on your notifications. And let me know in the comment section down below what jersey you want. I wouldn't mind if you like this video as well. And we're running the same giveaway on Instagram. Just follow and turn on my notifications on Instagram and comment on my content what jersey you would like as well. Now that we got all that out of the way, cue the intro. We've been dominating in my brand new Discord server on a monthly basis in a variety of sports, in the NBA, the NFL, and college sports as well. If you want to join that, click on the WAP link in the description down below. But it's my birthday on Sunday, and I have a very special play for you guys that I feel very confident in on PrizePicks. So real quick, to sign up for PrizePicks, make sure you use my promo code microphone to get $50 when you make a play of $5 or more, and use that $50 to make this play for a chance to win $300. I think Trevor Lawrence is going to go over 213.5 passing yards. I think Shedeur Sanders gets to 200 passing yards. His line set at 160. I wanted to juice my slip a little bit more, so I said he's going to get over 174.5 passing yards. And Jacoby Brissett's been on a heater. Jacksonville's defense isn't that good. I think he easily clears 250.5 pass yards. I give additional plays on my Instagram story and in my Discord community in the WAP link in the description down below. And thank you, PrizePicks, for sponsoring today's upload. Mic check 1 2 1 2. What's going on, everybody? Let's start with what actually went down. On Thursday, November 20th, Kelly Iko's report came out right after the Hornets dropped their 4th straight loss to the Indiana Pacers. And this isn't just any Pacers team. We're talking about a squad that was 1-13 at the time. The Hornets are now sitting at 4-11, 12th in the Eastern Conference, and things look pretty bleak in Charlotte. But the report wasn't about LaMelo being unhappy. Iko wrote that according to multiple league sources, the front office is increasingly hesitant about cementing Ball as a long-term foundational piece and has become disillusioned with the 24-year-old. That's a strong word, disillusioned. That doesn't mean that this is a team that is just having some struggles and is thinking of having a fire sale. That means that they're really questioning whether or not LaMelo Ball could be the face of the Hornets. And the report specifically mentioned Wednesday night's game as a telling example. LaMelo got benched for the final 4 minutes and 32 seconds of the game. He finished with 18 points on 4 of 21 shooting. That's 23.8% from the field, along with 6 turnovers in 27 minutes. Those aren't great numbers, especially against one of the worst teams in the NBA. Now, LaMelo saw this report on X and quote tweeted it with just a clown emoji, simply just saying that the report is cap. And during the very next day, LaMelo would address it directly with the media.
You never heard that come from me. Source is not from me. It's false info. Yeah, I love being here. I ain't saying nothing. I'm still confident in this whole group and everybody here.
So you would think case closed.
Mike, why are you making this video to begin with? LaMelo Ball never demanded a trade from the Charlotte Hornets.
Well, not exactly, because multiple NBA insiders are saying this story isn't as simple as LaMelo's denial suggests. So let's get into why this situation might be more than it appears, because if you're really paying attention, you'll notice one thing. This isn't LaMelo Ball demanding a trade. This is the Charlotte Hornets thinking that, hey, I don't think LaMelo Ball's our guy. To understand why this trade rumor even exists, we need to look at where the Hornets are right now. This is LaMelo's 6th season in Charlotte, and the team has still never made the playoffs. They had one play-in appearance back in 2022, and that's literally it. Since drafting LaMelo 3rd overall in 2020, the Hornets' best finish has been 10th place in the East. And it's not like LaMelo has been healthy enough to consistently lead them anywhere. Over the last 3 seasons, from 2022 to 23 to 2024 to 25, he's missed 147 out of 261 total games. That's more than half. He's played more than 51 games in a season just once in his entire career. The injuries keep piling up, ankle problems, wrist issues, you name it. This season alone, he's already missed 6 of the team's 15 games with an ankle injury. But when he does play, there is no question that he is one of the most talented players in the NBA and one of the most entertaining. This year, LaMelo is averaging 21.6 points, 9.6 assists, and 6.9 rebounds per game. That's actually a career high in assists. He's dishing the ball like never before. The problem is his efficiency has cratered. He's shooting 38.5% from the field and just 29.8% from 3. Both are career lows by a significant margin. For context, his career averages are 42% from the field and 36.2% from 3. So yeah, he's struggling. The advanced stats tell a far more concerning story. According to Cleaning the Glass, the Hornets are actually 17.3 points per 100 possessions better with LaMelo on the floor. So clearly he's making an impact. But when your team is still 4-11 with you making that kind of difference, that's a serious problem. That means when you're off of the floor, things are catastrophic. So you might think that's a very strange reason to even entertain training LaMelo, especially when you consider the fact that right now the Charlotte Hornets might have one of the most exciting young cores that they've had in years, and I'm not exaggerating. I love covering stories like this. It really brings me a lot of pleasure to cover up and coming stars and underrated players that aren't getting enough shine because they're in a small market. But let's talk about the best rookie in this class so far, Concanoopel. This kid was the 4th overall pick in the 2025 draft out of Duke, and he has been absolutely cooking. Like, he's currently the #1 player on the NBA's official rookie ladder. Not Cooper Flagg, not Dylan Harper, Concanoopel. Through 15 games, he's averaging 18.3 points, 6.1 rebounds, and 3 assists, while shooting 47% from the field and 40% from 3. And get this, he's already the fastest player in NBA history to reach 50 career 3-pointers. He did it in 15 games. The Hornets are currently plus 2.8 points per 100 possessions better with Concanoopel on the floor. For a rookie on a struggling team to have that kind of impact, that's special. He's leading all rookies in 3-pointers made. He's shown that he can create his own shot. He can facilitate for others. And honestly, he doesn't even look like a rookie out there. He looks comfortable, confident, like he belongs. And honestly, I'm kind of happy that the Charlotte Hornets ended up with the player that people thought Cooper Flagg was gonna be, because the Hornets have been getting screwed out of the #1 overall pick for decades at this point. Then you've got Brandon Miller, the 2nd overall pick from 2023. Now, Miller has been dealing with a shoulder injury. He suffered a left shoulder subluxation in just the 2nd game of the season and has missed the last 12 games, but before he got hurt, he dropped 25 points and 7 assists in the season opener. The kid can play, and he was just cleared to return to basketball activities, so he should be back relatively soon. So think about this for a second. A potential big 3 of LaMelo Ball, Brandon Miller, and Concanoopel. You've got 3 guys who can all create, all shoot, all make plays for others. On paper, that's a really intriguing young core. The Hornets also have another promising rookie in Ryan Kalkbrenner, who's been a defensive monster in the paint. The talent is there. So if the future looks promising, why would LaMelo want out? And why would the Hornets even consider trading him? Well, that's where things get really interesting. Stay with me because we're about to get to Windy's take, and what he had to say about this situation might change your entire perspective on everything. After LaMelo denied the trade rumors, you'd think the conversation would be over, but ESPN's Brian Windhorst came on the Hoop Collective podcast and essentially said, yeah, I think these rumors are legitimate. And his reasoning is actually pretty compelling.
He's only played 9 games, but he's having a very poor season. Worst shooting season of his career. LaMelo has not been able to deliver consistent production.
Windy is basically saying that LaMelo's trade value might not be what you'd expect for a 24-year-old former All-Star averaging 21 and 10. The injury history is a massive red flag. The defensive issues are real. The shot selection can be questionable. And yeah, when you're shooting 29 39.8% from 3 this season, teams are going to have some questions. But here's the really interesting part. Wendy also mentioned that if you asked NBA executives hypothetically if Trae Young, Ja Morant, and LaMelo Ball all hit the trade market tomorrow, who would have the best market? According to Wendy, LaMelo would actually have the strongest market because of his age, his size at 6'7". I'm so sorry, guys. And his offensive upside. So it's this weird dichotomy where his value is simultaneously limited by his flaws, but also elevated by his potential. Windhorst's broader point is this: even if LaMelo himself isn't pushing for a trade right now, the organizational dynamics in Charlotte might push both sides toward that outcome anyway. When a team has struggled for 6 years, when the injuries keep piling up, when the front office is reportedly disillusioned, sometimes these things have a way of becoming self-fulfilling prophecies. Now, not everyone is buying into this narrative. Jake Fisher from Bleacher Report came out strong, saying, "I can tell you with absolute certainty that the Charlotte Hornets are not actively looking to move LaMelo Ball anytime soon." Fisher said he made several calls around the league and got the same message from multiple people in the Hornets organization: coaches, front office execs, and even people close to LaMelo himself. According to Fisher, the Hornets genuinely want to see what this team looks like when they're fully healthy. They want to see LaMelo, Brandon Miller, and Concanoopel on the court together. They want to see if this young core can actually develop into something special. And honestly, that makes sense. Why would you trade LaMelo right now when you haven't even seen your 3 best young players play together yet? Mark Stein echoed similar sentiments, reporting that the Hornets have denied they're willing to listen to offers for LaMelo. But Stein also noticed something interesting. Rival clubs are skeptical of that posturing. Teams around the league are acting like something could pop before the February 5th trade deadline, even if the Hornets aren't the ones racing to start that conversation. So we've got this situation where the Hornets are publicly saying that we're not trading LaMelo. LaMelo himself is saying, "I want to be here." But behind the scenes, other teams are preparing like he might actually be available. It's messy, it's complicated, and honestly, it's classic NBA trade rumor season. Alright, let's talk hypothetically. If the Hornets did decide to trade LaMelo Ball, what would they actually be able to get back for him? And this is where things get a little tricky. LaMelo's on a 5-year, $203.8 million contract that he signed in 2023. This season, he's making $37.9 million, with raises each year, so any team trading for him needs to match that salary, which immediately limits the pool of potential suitors. You can't just send back a bunch of role players on small contracts. You need to send back real money. The teams that have been mentioned as possible landing spots include the Houston Rockets, who lost Fred VanVleet to injury and are trying to compete now with Kevin Durant on the roster. A potential package could involve VanVleet, Jabari Smith Jr., and maybe some future picks. The Clippers have been mentioned because they're always looking to make a splash and could offer distant picks that are going to be extremely valuable in the future. I mean, hell, they literally gifted the OKC Thunder a dynasty and ruined the NBA. It's our previous video on this channel, and I'll leave it in the end screen if you guys want to check it out and more in the future of the NBA with me. But here's the reality. The Hornets probably aren't getting back equal value. They're not getting another all-star level player in return. What they'd be getting is a combination of young players with upside, expiring contracts for financial flexibility, and draft picks. Think something like 2 solid young players, maybe a veteran on an expiring contract, and 2 or 3 first-round picks. That's probably the ceiling for a LaMelo Ball trade package. And you know what? For a team that's won 27, 43, 29, 27, and 19 games over the last 5 seasons with LaMelo, maybe that's not the worst outcome. Maybe starting fresh with more draft capital and building around Knoopel and Miller as your cornerstones isn't such a bad idea, but it's still a tough pill to swallow for a franchise that spent a top 3 pick on the guy just 5 years ago. Let's address the biggest issue here. LaMelo cannot stay healthy, like at all. This isn't a one-time thing or bad luck. This is a consistent pattern across his NBA career. In his rookie season, he played 51 games. In his sophomore year, he played 75 games. That's the one healthy season. Then it's 36 games in year 3 due to ankle problems. Then 22 games in year 4 with another ankle injury. Last season, he had 58 games with a wrist injury. And now this year, he's already missed 6 of 15 games with ankle issues again. Do the math. Since the 2022-23 season, LaMelo has missed 147 of the team's total 261 games. That's 56% of games. He's been unavailable for more than half of Charlotte's games over the last 3 years. For any team considering trading for him, that's terrifying. You're potentially committing $200+ million to a player who might only play 40 to 50 games a year. And it's not just the missed games, it's the way it affects his play when he comes back. Players rushing back from injuries, trying to find their their rhythm, dealing with reduced explosiveness or confidence. We saw it with the shooting struggles this year. When you're dealing with constant ankle problems and you're a guard who relies on burst and change of direction, that's going to affect your game. This is probably the biggest reason why Windy thinks LaMelo's trade market wouldn't be humongous despite his talent. Every team is going to have a medical staff looking at his injury history and going, are we sure about this? It's the same concern teams have had with players like Joel Embiid early in his career or Zion Williamson now. Talent is one thing, but availability is the best ability. So to answer the questions in this video, is LaMelo Ball actively requesting a trade from the Hornets? Here's my honest take digging into all of this. I don't think LaMelo is actively asking out right now. I think his denial was genuine. He does love being in Charlotte. He is confident in the young core, and he probably wants to see what happens when everyone's healthy. But I also think Kelly Iko's report wasn't completely made up. There are probably people around the league, maybe even people who've talked to people in the Charlotte Hornets organization, who sense that this relationship could be heading toward an endpoint. The truth is probably somewhere in the middle. LaMelo isn't demanding a trade today, but if the Hornets keep losing, if the injuries keep piling up, if they finish this season with another lottery pick, yeah, I could absolutely see this becoming a real conversation by next summer. Sometimes these things happen gradually. A player becomes open to a trade, then interested in a fresh start, and everything becomes mutual. We've seen it happen with other stars. And from the Hornets' perspective, I think they're genuinely conflicted. On one hand, LaMelo is their franchise player, their biggest star, their main attraction. On the other hand, they've got Concanoopal looking like a future all-star, Brandon Miller showing real potential, and a bunch of draft capital they could add if they moved LaMelo. Plus, they could get off that massive contract and have financial flexibility to build around younger and cheaper players. It's not crazy to consider that path. Windy was right about one thing. Even if neither side is actively pushing for it right now, these situations have a way of developing their own momentum. Rival teams are already circling, already preparing offers, already monitoring the situation. And when that starts happening in the NBA, things can move fast. In my opinion, I think the Hornets are at a crossroads. They can either stick with LaMelo Ball, hope he gets healthy, hope the young core develops together and try to finally break through to the playoffs, or they can cut their losses, trade LaMelo while he has decent value, and go all in on building around Concanoopal and Brandon Miller as their future. Neither path is obviously right or obviously wrong. Both have merit, and that's probably why we're seeing these conflicting reports. Because internally, the organization probably hasn't decided which direction they're going yet. They're probably legitimately waiting to see what happens when everyone gets healthy. But here's what I know for sure. The story isn't over. Whether LaMelo gets traded this season, next summer, or never, we're going to be talking about this situation for a while. The injuries, the losing, the promising young players, the financial implications, it's all going to keep building until something gives. But I want to know in the comment section down below, what do you guys think? Should the Hornets trade LaMelo and build around other young players, or should they keep trying to roll with him and hope he gets healthy and potentially form one of the most promising big threes in the East? I'd like to hear what you have to say. Aside from that, I don't think any of this matters because the Los Angeles Clippers ruined basketball. It's official. I'm going to explain why in our video in the end screen, and I'll meet you guys there. I'm your boy Mike, and I'm dropping our mic until our next upload.